Can the Arkansas Razorbacks upset Tennessee this weekend? Week 7 has plenty of exciting matchups, and some of them are going to be tougher to win than others. Arkansas is in a very different place than when we thought they'd be coming into the year, but they do have an opportunity to give Tennessee a run for their money. The talent is definitely there. The defense has some big questions, but we're going to dive in how this could potentially happen. Now, as I'm recording this, Tennessee is a 12.5 point favorite. So to say that this is possible, it's not a strong statement right now. It's not a strong confidence level if you think that Arkansas has the potential to do this. They're coming off 3 consecutive losses, including the last loss where they got absolutely destroyed by Notre Dame at home. They lost 56-13. They lost to Memphis the week before that, and Ole Miss in close fashion. But this is a team that has shown at times it can be explosive, it can be competitive. Now, how do you do that on the road is going to be a big question. That's going to be tough. And again, this series of doing this on Fridays, just talking about a bigger upset that would be very surprising, isn't me saying that this is going to happen. This is just looking at how does something like this happen. And with a team like Arkansas that's in a different position, that's in a different place because Sam Pittman's fired, Bobby Petrino has taken over, and almost using this as a potential job interview tells me that it's kind of tough to see where this team is at. Now, some teams we see bounce back in a big way. Now, the Notre Dame game says kind of the opposite, but this is an opportunity for them to show that, hey, we're not going down without a fight. But it's also an opportunity for Tennessee to potentially just hang 40 points on this team and just run away with it. So this is truly a pivotal point for Arkansas because the rest of the season isn't going to get any easier. You look at the remaining schedule and you have bowl teams just waiting for them. So this is an opportunity for this program, these kids, to show everybody this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to bounce back. And this is how we're going to play hard for Bobby Petrino. Now, one thing this team does have to do is get off to a fast start. When you look at their scoring, the first half is where they've scored a majority of their points. They've scored 135 points in the first half, 55 in the first quarter, 80 in the second quarter so far this year. They've scored 31 and 21 in the third and fourth quarter. So a total of 52 points. They clearly need to get off to fast starts, but also they need to find a way to wake up in the second half. Clearly, teams are making adjustments to what they're doing, and that's working. That has been a big way that Arkansas is losing these games, is that the first half may go well, but the second half is a completely different story. Now, part of that is going to be on the offense. Obviously, the offense is going to play a big role in that, and we'll talk about the defense and why that's actually the bigger part. But Taylor Green has been arguably one of the biggest bright spots for this team. Now, at times he has struggled and at times he hasn't looked good, but overall, this has been a really fun player to watch. And he's had some good games where he is doing a lot of good things with his arm as well as his legs. And there's only been one game so far, which was the Notre Dame game, where he had less than 300 yards of total offense. He still had 288 against Notre Dame, but again, not the best performance. So how do you get him more comfortable? How do you get him more involved? That's going to be a big question for Bobby Petrino to figure out. I think that what they're doing right now is working, but how do you get that to be even better? Because Tennessee's defense is going to put him in a bind. They're going to give him plenty of trouble. That's going to be a big time concern. So how does the offensive line respond? How do they get him out in space? Because this is a guy who clearly can do things with his arm, with his legs. Do they use more quarterback design runs? Do they use more design scrambles? Roll him out? Those are things that are going to be big questions. The passing attack, though, has to be a big part of this. And so far, when Arkansas's had a lot of success, it's been Taylor Green running the show, obviously. But it's been nice to see a passing attack that had potential to be better than people expected shine. And Omega Blake's been a part of that. And I think that the explosiveness is definitely still there. This is a big time playmaker that has the ability to make plays. And it's clear that they still want to get him involved in the offense. He's had 5+ catches in every single game, including 6 in the last 3 of each of the last 3 games they've played. So it's clear they want to get him involved. Now, how do you get him into more explosive situations is probably the bigger question. How do you get him to be more involved? Now, the balance of the offense is going to be huge as well, but the passing attack has plenty of players to be able to catch the ball, and Taylor Green has done a good job of distributing the football equally. So how do you get these guys more involved? How do you get Omega Blake involved in this offense even more? Because it's clear he has explosive ability. You just have to find a way to do it. Now, the most obvious thing that has to get better is plain and simple, this defense has to be better. And when you look at the first 2 games, you thought, okay, this is not bad. You didn't feel great about some of the stretches they had, but at the same time, you're like, okay, this is okay. But when you look at every single week, they've given up more and more yards, and the last 3 weeks have just been atrocious. You give up 41 points and 475 yards to Ole Miss. You give up 32 points and 489 yards to Memphis, 56 points and 641 yards to Notre Dame. Something has to change. It's clear that Bobby Petrino made decisions that he made to move on with certain coaches on the defensive side of the ball for a reason, and something has to get better, because again, this is that breaking point. Because if this team shows that it's going to fight back, there's hope. It also gives Bobby Petrino maybe a stronger case to take over as the head coach. But also, if this team caves, it's not going to speak well for him. And it's also going to show that this is going to be a long year. And it's already a long year. It's already been a long year, and we're just halfway through the season for some teams. So it's going to be tough. Now, being disruptive is something they haven't done consistently the last 3 games. Now, against Memphis, it was a little bit better with the tackles for loss and sacks, but the Ole Miss and Notre Dame games, not very good. If you can get to Joey Aguilar, if you can get to the backfield of this offense, teams have shown that that's a potential way to slow down the Tennessee offense. That being said, stopping that passing attack isn't easy. Chris Brazell is an absolute threat, and I don't necessarily know if Arkansas right now is equipped to handle the pace that Tennessee is going to play at, but one way to slow that down is to be disruptive. Get in the backfield, be disruptive, provide those sacks, quarterback hurries, tackles for loss in the run game. Those are going to be things they have to do. Now, this defense is going to be a good indicator of how successful this team is going to be, because again, that schedule is not easy. That schedule is going to be tough. And if this defense continues playing like they have the last 3 weeks, it's going to be rough. But if they find ways to get back to those first couple of weeks and be a little bit more disruptive, it's going to give their offense more opportunities to get the ball, put points on the board. And it's also going to keep the opposing offense out of rhythm and slow them down. It's a really tough task. And again, it's not me saying that this is going to happen, but we're looking at how does Arkansas make this happen. If Bobby Petrino can get the job done, it's going to build this team's confidence towards the rest of the season. And again, it's a good thing for him as well to show, hey, I was the reason that we turned this thing around, that we found our confidence, and we can build on something heading into 2026.